All right, everybody, welcome to the Warrior Podcast. We're doing another one outside today. I'm taking advantage of the last of the good weather before the winter sets in. We're going to be doing a lot of outdoor training and preparation to climb a mountain in Vegas where I scattered my buddy's ashes back in 2012. And this time I'll have 2 knee replacements and 2 hip replacements. Going to test them out all together. Today I want to talk about racism. You know, we're already in year 2023. The civil rights movement was in the 1960s. We're 60 years past that. And racism there's more racial hatred now than ever, okay? So I want to talk about ethnic groups. Every ethnic group has a portion of that group that are bad people. I'm Italian. What happened with Italians? Well, you know, the stereotyping mafioso comes from somewhere. And the Italians, at one time, and maybe they still are, but they're more camouflaged, they led the organized crime ring in this country, in the United States. I know it's still going on in Italy, especially in Sicily, where my ancestors come from. So, that portion of the Italian population, or we'll say Italian American, even though we shouldn't be saying a prefix before American because we're all Americans. That was a subset of the Italian culture. I wasn't in the mafia, my family wasn't in the mafia, but we knew people who were. So that subset constituted tons of crime, and it was just a small portion of the Italian race, and they gave the Italian race a bad name. And at one time, Italians were persecuted in this country by everyone else, just like every other ethnic group was persecuted. That's human nature, and that's how it works, unfortunately. So now we have a very anti-white sentiment from blacks, and we have very anti-black sentiment from whites. And then there's other groups that have anti-white or black sentiment that aren't white or black, okay? So here's the problem, as I see it. Blacks constitute 13% of the population of the United States. So let's say out of that, the bad subset, the bad guys are 1/2 of 1%. All right, so a half a percentage of 13% is a fraction of a percent of 13% is a very small number. And that very small number constitutes over 50% of all crime in the United States. It's a very little tiny group that's doing all this bad stuff. Just like the Italian mafia. And the problem is everything gets hyped up and glamorized in the media, and we start stereotyping each other, and it's wrong, because the sentiment that we have should be focused on the bad people. But the system that's controlled by the controllers, that's in my book, they want us to hate each other. They will create any which way they can for us to hate each other. So they hype up the racial stuff. They create stuff out of nothing, like critical race theory is fucking bullshit. White privilege, it's fucking bullshit. Okay? I could tell you a million stories. But my personal story is my grandparents came here independently of each other. They didn't know each other, on steamships that took forever to get across the ocean. They came here. They didn't speak English. They had no money. My grandpa worked on the railroad the early part of his life. He told me when he was alive he made 75 cents a day. They all worked. They had 10 kids. All the kids went to work at an early age, and they all paid my grandfather money. This is how the families banded together and survived back in the day. They didn't complain, the system's unfair, I don't know English, so I can't get a good job. No. They put their nose to the grindstone and they went to fucking work like every other ethnic group in this country, black included. I am concerned if there are things built into the system that are hurting people, and I'm sure there are. But it's not white people's fault. It's the controllers' fault. They put that shit in place to weaken us so they can control us easier. Is there systemic racism? Is there stuff built into the system that's racist? There might be. But I didn't do it. White people didn't do it. They did it. The controllers. And I pondered on this my whole life. Like welfare, the welfare state. I don't think the welfare state does anybody good. I mean, that needs to be revised. I'd rather, create things that create jobs and give people jobs. That's how people grow. They produce. They utilize their skills and talents. And part of that welfare system does encourage people to do nothing. So, is that systemic racism? Hey, it might be. But here's what I know. You can be anything you want in this country. Anything whatsoever. I just saw a video of a bunch of young people at a university campus. It was, I think they were in their early 20s or late teens. It was a black female, young lady, very well spoken and intelligent, arguing with a black male in her age bracket, also very intelligent. She argued for how unfair everything is, and she had a million different things, and he's like, no, what can't you do that you want to do? What are you prohibited from doing that you cannot do? Okay? And, I've heard this argument a million times. Well, I get strange looks from people, and you could tell that they're racist when they're looking at me. He's like, so what? You don't answer my question. What does that mean? How does that stop you from doing what you want to do? This is how people are. People are, we're all judgmental of each other based on looks. We all are. We all will see something that looks strange to us. How many times have you seen a disfigured person and you look at him and you're like, whoo, okay? It's just in our nature. It's how our brains work. And there's always going to be some form of racism because it's inherent in us. We see someone from another tribe that looks different. We go into kind of defense mode. We don't recognize this tribe or whatever. Even with the Native Americans, from tribe to tribe, they discriminate against each other. They don't like each other. So this is where we're at right now. So again, if you are a black person out there and you're hyper focused on how unfair the system is, I'm going to share a little something with you. That's not helping you at all. Not at all. If you are right and the racism is built in everywhere in the system, then instead of bitching about it, go do something about it. Write a congressman, do a protest, get involved, change the laws, change the legislation. That's it. Do something. And then by doing something, instead of just talking about it, you'll be furthering your cause. You'll feel fulfilled inside and you won't be as angry. Same thing with this green energy. Well studied on that, and that's a whole nother topic. And people preaching to me about green energy, they never read any science whatsoever. I'm like, well, what are you doing about it though? Do you not use your air conditioner in the summer? Do you own electric cars? What are you doing? And then nothing. They don't do anything. So that's what I'm saying to you. Take real action. Form groups. Look at the laws. See where things are slanted or unfair and work to change the laws. You still have the ability to do that, no matter what color you are. Isn't that wonderful? But from a mindset point of view, I put this in my book. And first of all, let me preempt this by saying, I'm not black. I have no fucking idea how it is to walk in this country as a black person. I don't. But what I do know, I know through observation. And that is, you can be anything you want in this country. Blacks have held every single position in every single job, all the way up to President of the United States. That is the highest position we can have. So, are you better off, and this is for everybody, not just black people, are you better off focusing on negative things, the unfairness of things, or are you better off focusing on yourself, improving yourself, and telling yourself, I can do anything I set my mind to? Which one will you live a better life? It's your choice. So, that's kind of my little rant today. Hold on one second, my phone was ringing there. This whole racism thing is created, okay? And like I said, if there is something that is racist or discriminating in our laws, then I'm going to join forces with you. Let's go after it. Because I'm telling you, politicians will give your life for their country. You understand what I just said there? Politicians will give your life for their country. And we, the people, we got to band together, man. We have to, only we can get rid of this racist narrative. And guys, just look at the kids. Kids don't give a shit. They hang out with everybody. It doesn't matter. I've never seen so many racially integrated groups now. Every school, everywhere, all the time. Kids don't care. We're pushing this shit. They are, I should say. They're pushing this shit down our throats. And it's a crock of crap. So we got to come together. We got to open up our eyes. Don't talk about it. Do something about it. And try to be the best version of yourself. There's nothing you cannot do in this world. I don't care what color you are. And boy, I have so many friends, black friends would love to be standing next to me preaching the same message. Just go get it. Stop complaining about it. And if it's real, then go take care of it. Do something proactive. Be a social justice warrior. Be a civil rights warrior. Do something about it. Right? Show me and I'll be with you. Show me where in the laws, I'll be with you. Okay? You can't discriminate against anybody anymore. You can't even, somebody comes to they want to get hired and they're covered in tattoos and you don't think it's good for the image of the business. Their whole face is tattooed. You can't discriminate anything anymore. Everybody's so hyper-focused on it. So, I'm with you guys. If there's something that needs to be taken action on, I'm all in. But I'm telling you firmly, it's a overblown, it's a fire fueled by the media, fueled by the controllers to make us weak. Because when we're weak and we're fighting each other, they get away with shit. They control shit. And it takes our eye off the ball of what they're doing. So, God, I hope a lot of people wake up and they see that. Anyway, that's my little condensed version of mindsets of racism. I love all you guys. We got to come together. That's the bottom line. We have to come together. Love you all.